because there was, some reports, there was some murmurs potentially before signing with the Bills that, hey, could Joey become a San Francisco 49er, and could the Bosa brothers finally play together on the same team? Is that really your dream as a father, to eventually see those two guys play together on the same team? Your two sons, a lot of new faces on that Niners defense this year, and your son yesterday talking about, taking on a new leadership role. What's that going to look like for Nick, you think, this year? Because he even said himself, he's not the loudest rah-rah guy. What's a leader in Nick Bosa look like? Because you know him better than anyone else. You're his father.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's great to be on with the two Joes. Nick is not going to change his style. But I think what Nick will be is a little more vocal on more probably on the one-on-one situations with guys, making sure being helpful in the D-line room, being helpful with the young guys one-on-one. And then, as you guys know, he does, do the speeches on Saturdays and puts a lot of thought into that. But I think Nick is pretty much the kind of kid that once these teammates know him, they know it's not just going to be lip service. When he talks, it's going to be something thoughtful, something that he feels is important. And then obviously, I think the best way that he leads is by example, whether it be in the weight room, whether it be preparation, keeping your body in top shape and doing the right thing when you're outside of the facility. So I think he'll try to be a little bit more vocal, but I think ultimately it's really about trying to mentor one-on-one with some of the younger guys. Yeah, no doubt about it. And,
last year was a frustrating year for the fans, the team, all the individual players. It just felt like they couldn't stop anyone on defense. How happy is he to have Robert Saleh back?
He's very happy. And again, I know football, but I don't know enough to put my finger on really what went wrong last year. Just a lot of things. And then obviously Nick dealt with a few minor injuries, but that kept him out. I think it's like he said, I don't think he appreciated Saleh, in his rookie year. He just kind of thought that that's the way it's going to be. And obviously with D'Amico, he was fantastic. So there was kind of a seamless transition, but I think it's pretty awesome to have that man back in the building as a coach and just as a human being, just an awesome dude.
Yeah, he's a great guy. We all love him, and he's just a fiery individual, a straight leader. You kind of referenced some of the injuries, and Nick's never going to come out and admit these things. We know it. He's too much of a gladiator. But you're his dad. I mean, I'm sure you get defensive, and when people just don't know on the outside what he's dealing with. It was hard last year. I mean, both sides of his oblique were injured, and we only know a fraction of it. Do you almost wish some of these guys, and it's not necessarily about just your son, but like that they would be a little more, I don't know, transparent with the injuries, just to kind of back off the criticisms? Because I don't think the average person understands, or reporter, fan, whatever, understands these guys are fighting through it, and it is a grind to get through that 17, 18-week schedule.
Right. Well, I mean, I think what the public sees or says really doesn't matter. I think it's all about, helping the team. Now, if an injury is really hampering your performance, ultimately, and hurting the team, then that's kind of a different situation. Then maybe it's kind of on the coaches to say, hey, we got to either shut you down, or because we need to put someone else in, you're just not playing at a level that's helping the team. So that's a different scenario. With Nick, I think the criticism that bothers me is really his overall game, is pretty darn good. The kid's getting criticized. He had 9 sacks and pretty good against the run, and still at top. He was performing at a pretty high level. Was it injury free Nick Bosa? Not quite, but I don't think it was to a point where he was hurting the team by being out there, and then that would be a different scenario. But as far as transparency, I think pretty much everybody knows what's going on with guys. It just the criticism from the average fan, which I love, but really doesn't matter. It doesn't mean much inside the building.
I mentioned Joey right there because there was, some reports, there was some murmurs potentially before signing with the Bills that, hey, could Joey become a San Francisco 49er, and could the Bosa brothers finally play together on the same team? Is that really your dream as a father, to eventually see those two guys play together on the same team, your two sons?
Not really, honestly. I think Joe's in an awesome spot, and I don't think that was ever a real possibility in San Fran. The 49ers is Nick's team, and the Chargers were Joey's team for a long time, and I think it helps Joey to go to a new place and have a fresh start. So it really wasn't something. It sort of would be interesting, but knowing those two, I think it worked out awesome.
John, just your overall thoughts on, this 49ers team, because you're so tapped in on your sons, obviously, and their teams, and obviously Joey going to Buffalo now. But with this 49ers team, you've seen Nick now go not one, but two Super Bowls, right? And come up just short. And it was against the Chiefs, right? That guy, Patrick Mahomes, that guy, Andy Reid. So heading into this year, there's going to be a lot of new faces. And I guess, have you heard, or has Nick talked to you about this new kid, Mykel Williams, this first rounder out of Georgia, right? Who seems to produce all these big boys as of late. Used to be Bama, but now we're seeing a little bit of a shift to Georgia and the Bulldogs and all those dudes coming out of there, the Jalen Carters of the world, right? And the Kobe Deans. And now Mykel Williams. Has Nick spoke to you at all about him? And is he just looking forward to working with this rook?
He definitely is. And he's spoken to me quite a bit about him. This year I think Nick's seen a lot. He's seen a D-line room that has really changed almost every year, pretty much. It sort of reminds me of 19, where you have some rookies that are really going to have to step up. Obviously, Nick was one of those in 19, and a couple linebackers, and so I think what's going to happen this year is really a core group that's pretty awesome, and then a bunch of young guys that are going to really have to produce. With Mykel, is that how you pronounce his first name?
Mykel.
Mykel. Super talented, long, strong, really, really a very talented kid. I think what he's going to have to adjust is it's a different scheme, and it's a very different attacking scheme in San Fran. So I think that's what he's going to have to really work on. And I think Nick is, you can't work on that other than in camp with pads on, because you can go through all the motions and all the drills with no pads on, but that's really where you have to learn those type of attacking techniques and where you're attacking your attack points. And, so that's really going to be where he's got all the talent. Great kid, smart kid. Nick and he are talking all the time technique. But what's really going to have to happen is during camp, he's going to have to really kind of grasp what the D-line room is out to do. And obviously, with a great group of coaches, the sky's the limit for the kid. So he's in a great spot. I think he's got all the talent in the world. And now it's a matter of adjusting to that attacking scheme. That's not as simple as it seems.
Yeah, it seems like it. I mean, that was a really good answer there on Mykel Williams. Did Nick do anything different in the offseason this year, or was he trying to add something specific to his game? I know in years past you've talked about on this show about, hey, Nick really trains like he's a track athlete. I mean, there's no doubt he's lifting weights and stuff, but I think people underrate how much running and how much get off he works on. Did he try anything different, or was he trying to add something to his game this offseason in the workouts?
Well, actually, I think what really benefited him was taking a little bit more time off after the season, because what I used to, and again, they don't listen to me, but I always felt like they might be overtraining a little bit in the off season, because a lot of times, Nick would come off a Super Bowl and he'd be back out in 2 weeks. And I always felt like, wow, you need to let your body kind of heal up and really rejuvenate. So I think the one change he did is a little bit of a longer rest period. And then I think what's interesting, the speed training is there. Like like I said before, if you guys saw them on the field at 7 a.m. in South Florida heat, you'd think there's two sprinters working, other than the size of them. It looks like two sprinters working on get off and 10-yard splits, and they're timing, and their trainer is timing their 10-yard get offs and their 20-yard get offs. So it's really about speed. But I think what Nick actually is kind of looking back is adding certain moves and things. I think he's probably going to go back a little bit to maybe his first and second year, and how he basically planned his pass rush attack during games. So I think what's actually going to happen is he's going to kind of try and refine what really worked great in those first 3 years, and just kind of keep working on what's been proven to be successful getting to the quarterback. So I actually think he's kind of looking back at some tape and looking back at things that he had done in the past, and the years where he had, high double-digit sacks, and kind of looking at what he did and how he planned his game of attack for each tackle.